Hello, Pridelings, and welcome back to the Cat Pride podcast. I am your hostess, the Alien Cat. Today, we are going to be continuing our review slash recap of Stranger Things season 3. I have decided as well that I want to actually react to season 5 on the channel and not just watch it in my spare time. So yeah, I'm excited. So for today's episode, we are going to be doing a usual review of season 3, my thoughts and opinions on this season. And we are going to end it with a bit of trivia because we did that the last time and I had fun. So I think it would be fun if we were to do that yet again. So here we are. Please also, if you feel free to share your thoughts and opinions on Stranger Things as a whole, or also just on season 3. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Also, guys, I am listening to Aim to Head mix, specifically their Lycan Volume 5 playlist. It is a really, really fun playlist. I highly recommend it. So yeah, let's just get right into it then. And once again, obviously I have my notes of like just pages upon pages of notes. Just so many notes of like to kind of help me keep track of what was happening in each episode and what I also felt about certain things. So yeah. Let's just start with episode 1. It is Suzie, Do You Copy? Basically, we start with the Russians who are trying to open the gate, but it doesn't go too well for them. I also I wrote down the date of when this happened, June 28th, 1984. The reason why I wrote the date is because in the last Stranger Things quiz, we were asked in what year does this season of Stranger Things take place? So I wanted to write down the year, but the thing is that when we go back to the present, it's actually a year later. So technically speaking, I guess it would take place in 1985. Anyway, and here is where we also jump into Elle and Mike having a little bit of fun there. Hilarious. And Hopper obviously also freaking out, and Mike acting like a little shit and really gaslighting Hopper and stuff. I have to say as well, Mike really annoyed me during this specific part of the season, not throughout the whole of it, but just how much of an asshole he was acting towards Hopper. Like, very rude and disrespectful also, and whispering in Elle's ear when Hopper is right there and they're laughing at him, and it's like, it's so rude. So I'm like, bruh. I think that actually happened at episode 2 or 3. It was the same episode where Hopper was basically threatening Mike, but we will get to that also. And here we also see that Nancy and Jonathan are dating. From what I've seen throughout the show, I think that they do make a pretty good couple. I personally feel that they need to work just a little bit better in trying to breach the gaps that they both have. I mean, every person comes from a different background. Like, we all have relationships, and not just romantic, but where either, even if you say grew up in the same area, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have the same experiences. Now, with Jonathan and Nancy comes from not rich. I don't think that they're rich, but they're very, very comfortable. Whereas Jonathan comes from a very poor family. So they already have a pretty different upbringing when it comes to how they view the world and how they walk around in it and stuff, and we will also get more into that. And we also get to see them in their new place of work, where Nancy's colleagues are complete assholes, which is not surprising, especially given the time. And she's young, and she's a woman as well, so obviously these grown-ass men who don't really respect women in that aspect are obviously going to disrespect her and undermine her and underestimate her. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, they are complete assholes, and I'm also glad that some of them died, because bitch. We'll get to that part also. Oh yeah, the scenes also where you see that the gang throws a surprise party for Dustin because he finally came back from this summer camp thing, and he's just freaking out because Elle is controlling his little robots and stuff. Everybody gets all freaked out also because Dustin freaks out. But all in all, just hilarious and very, very sweet of them to do that as well. I do also kind of feel bad for him when he was trying to, like, he basically took everybody up this hill and stuff to build this antenna, this big ass antenna to try to contact his new girlfriend Suzie, which I find it hilarious that pretty much everyone thought that she was fake. I mean, on the one hand, I get it, I guess, but also like, why? Why are you all so convinced that she is fake? But okay. But what I also didn't really like in that scene, and that like I get it, right? Where Elle and Mike, they just leave to go back to making out. Like, I get it. Young love, first love. You want to be with that person all the time and stuff. I get it. But I still think it's kind of rude to kind of like toss your friend aside who you haven't seen it in, what, 2-3 months or something at this point? I think it was for 2 months. And it's like, just hang out with your friends for a little bit longer. And then you can, you know, whatever. So I thought that was a little, I didn't like that. Again, I understand, I get it. But also like, he's your friend, your best friend, one of your best friends. I mean, come on. I mean, heck, even Lucas and Max stayed. Like, bruh, come on, guys. And we also get a bit of a glimpse of the rats as well in this season, which it makes me sad to see them like that. And I also wrote here, feed them to the hungry rats for dinner. Because if you do not know, there is a song. I specifically know the Dishonored version of the song. I don't even remember. Wailing Sailor, I think it's called. Hold on. Drunken Sailor, I guess. Drunken Wailer. Yeah, that is the name of the song. So I don't particularly remember which specific scene I saw, but when I saw it, I thought of the song. So I just had to mention that. Moms are thirsting over Billy, and it's like, Jesus, guys, please chill. The thirsty moms are just horny as fuck. I'm guessing they're lonely as well, but it was like, oh my god, isn't he a high schooler, or didn't he just graduate from high school? He's barely legal. I mean, come on, guys. Especially given that like Nancy is pretty much around the same age as Billy, I think. So that's a little bit creepy. I'm like I can understand that she's lonely and all, but like, not comfortable with it. Not comfortable with it. And with that said as well, I mean, I will also give her some credit in the sense that she was about to leave to go cheat on her husband. I'm glad that she ultimately chose to stay behind and not go through with it. I think it is also to show the complexity of it, because like, she didn't really marry him for love. Not really. I'm sure that she was fond of him, and they probably got along a lot more, I guess, maybe when they were younger. But she has a family, responsibilities, and she can't just throw all of that away for a one-night stand. Like, it's not worth it. So I am glad that she ultimately chose to not go through with it, because I can imagine also that it must have been nice for her to feel actually wanted. Because I don't think she gets that energy from her husband, which kind of sucks, but happens. Again, I don't condone cheating at all. I'm just saying I can understand, and I'm also glad that she did not go through with it, because I think ultimately that's the important part here. So yeah. Also, the parallel that we see with Billy being dragged by the mind flayer, it's very similar to what we've also seen of Barbara from season 1, except in this season, Billy stays alive because the mind flayer needs him alive. So yeah. Hello, so fun fact. Did you know that there are hundreds of data brokers out there whose sole purpose is to buy and sell your data? Did you also know that they don't even have to tell you about it? Okay, maybe not so fun fact, but well, one of these data points is your IP address, which data harvesters use to identify you and your location. And this is where ExpressVPN comes into play. Woohoo! With the click of a button, my connection gets rerouted through an encrypted server masking my IP address, making it much more difficult for third parties to harvest my data. You can download the app on your smartphone, on your computer, your smart TV, and it really is that easy. So if you would like to keep your data private, use my link right now at expressvpn.com/thealiencat666. That is expressvpn.com/thealiencat666. Use that link and you can get up to 4 months of ExpressVPN for free. And the link for it would also be down in the description box. Thank you so much, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get right back to it. That was episode 1. Next is episode 2, The Mall Rats. And here is also the scene where basically Mike and Jane are having a phone call, and there was this lie happening about his grandmother and stuff, and it goes a little bit weird, and just that whole scene I personally found hilarious. It was so hilarious. Also, there was a song that was being played. It's called Don't Mess with Jim, and I just love that song was being played while Hopper felt that his plan had worked, because he had basically threatened Mike to leave Elle alone. And I get it, you know, you want to protect your preteen or your teenage daughter from boys. I get that. And they should also be respectful that, you know, Hopper is the parent. It's his house as well. And they are the children. They are the children. They should respect him. I know that when it comes to Elle as well, it's a little bit more complicated because she is also kind of forced to stay inside. And we've already talked about this in my season 2 review, is that it's not good for a kid to stay locked in for so long. But with that said, they should not be laughing and making fun of him in front of his face. Like, guys, come on. So rude. I am happy to say though that other than that, I actually really did I did like Mike throughout the rest of the show. I know that he gets a lot of hate. I get it. At the beginning, I was annoyed by him. I really was. But then afterwards, you know, he kind of like, it's fine. I don't think we're always opposed to always like the characters. I'm totally fine with Mike having his annoying moments and stuff. Ultimately, I think he's pretty decent. And we'll talk more about that anyway. Let's see. In this episode, we also see the union of Steve and Dustin, which I love their friendship / weird bromance that they have there. It's just so funny. It's so funny. I love those two. Oh yeah, I also wrote here that poor Will, all he wants to do is just play some D&D. I think it's also, like, I also get where he's coming from. He's trying to kind of cling to the past a bit, you know, before things started going to shit. And he is the only single friend, basically. So it's kind of hard to try to kind of bring your friends to play with you when all they want to do is talk about their girlfriends. Like, it's not comfortable. So yeah, I do feel bad for Will in this episode. It's like, this single friend who just wants to play D&D and his best friends are distracted. I mean, I can also get them as well because, again, first relationship, it's always exciting and all. I get it. But still, it's like there's a time and a place for everything. I also love that throughout the season itself that Max and Jane, they have more of a chance to just hang out and stuff. And I also love what Max was trying to also do to kind of show her also that there is more to life than just boys, but also that it's important for her to have other connections and to kind of grow into her own person. We have seen some of that also in season 2, where she goes on her own, she does her own journey and all. So yeah, I'm just glad that they had more of a chance to bond and become friends and to just be young girls, do some shopping and find outfits that she wants to actually wear and not things that are chosen for her, and to just have fun. So yeah, what else did I? Oh yeah, I also wrote that Robin is brilliant, and I love that she was able to really connect the dots about the Russian code. I have to say though, at first when I first watched season 3, I didn't really know how to take her. Like, I liked her, but I also found her a little bit annoying as well. But ultimately, I think that she's a really, really fun character. She's smart, she's hilarious, and she's got a little bit of sass, which I personally love. And then there is a thing where you take the sass a little bit too far, and that is Erica. I don't like her. She is annoying. Even if there are some points that she made that were true, she is still annoying. I don't like her. I really do not like Erica. She's annoying. She's annoying. Anyway, we'll probably talk more about that as well when we get into it. Anyway, oh yeah, I also wrote that this is where Joyce gets help from the teacher. I really did not like the fact that Joyce and Hopper, they planned on going on a date. They were supposed to meet up at Enzo's, I think it was called, and she stood him up, and he's mad, rightfully so. And she doesn't even say sorry, and it's like, girl, you stood him up. That is the first thing that you should say. I'm so sorry. I had to deal with something. Like, at least just say that. Because they have said it before. I don't know if her specifically, but those words have been used in the show a few times. So it annoyed me that Joyce didn't say that she didn't apologize to him. I know that she technically did at the very last episode, and it's like, girl, come on. That should have been either right away or shortly after, not the very last episode, but that's just but yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, and this is also the episode where Billy kidnaps Heather and shit goes down. Right, and that also leads us to the next episode, episode 3, The Case of the Missing Lifeguard. Here is also the scene where Elle and Max, where they spin the bottle to see who they spy on. So they spied on Mike and his friends, and also on Billy. And I'm not a fan that they did that as well. It's also mentioned towards either the very last episode or the episode before, where Mike was basically saying that Max is reckless with Elle's powers. I agree with him. I agree. And I mean, sure, you can definitely make the argument as well that Elle is the only one who actually knows her limits and she understands her abilities better than anyone. And while that is true, she is still a child, and it's very, very easy to push your limits or to go too far. Because I think that that's kind of what happened in the end as well, is that she pushed herself a little bit too far, and then she lost her powers. I think that that's kind of what happened there. I mean, obviously she had to deal with the giant flesh monster. Of course, that is going to take a lot of her energy. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's just continue with the episode review. Anyway. Yeah, I think here is also the part where Will really tries to reel him in, but the guys, they aren't having it. And then eventually they come back and say, it's a really good campaign, Will, come on, let's finish it and stuff. And then Will is like, no, I don't want to, which honestly, it's fair. It's really fair. I totally get why Will is upset about the whole thing. So yeah, let's see. Oh, and I am also glad that Mike and Lucas, that they were trying to say to Will, come on, let's just play, I'll have fun and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And then Will leaves, but they go after him as well because they care about him as well. So I thought that was nice, that at least they definitely tried. I think that they kind of saw that, like, okay, we are kind of a little bit too stuck in our own bubble to the point where we are neglecting our best friend. So let's try to reconnect again and stuff. And I am glad that they went all the way to his house as well in the rain to apologize. And the timing was also well because Will sensed the mind flayer again. So Episode 4, the sauna test. That was a really cool episode. It was definitely intense. I think also because like there was always this little seed of worry of like, okay, what is going to happen? Is the same thing that happened to Will also going to happen with Billy? And it was definitely like I love how they also came together again despite the fights and stuff. But it's good that they're able to set those things aside and work together because they work so well together. And when I mean that, I mean the kids, Mike, Lucas, Max, Elle, and Will, that they were able to just kind of let's put our personal stuff aside for the most part, at least. Elle and Mike, they have a little conversation, and this is also where I believe Mike finds out that Max and Elle were spying on them. And Mike was saying that is breaking the rules. And while the cool line that Elle says, I make my own rules. Now, on the one hand, I really love seeing her with more confidence. I love that she is standing up for herself even more so. But with that said, spying on your friends, your boyfriend, your ex is not cool. I know that ultimately they had to do that for the spin the bottle thing. That's also how Elle she spied on Billy, and that's how they were able to find out that Billy has been up to some really really weird shit. Hence the sauna test and all of that as well. I get it. I'm just saying, like, Jane, I love your confidence. I love it, but girl, some respect. Anyway, I also don't really falter too much because I think Max is a little bit extreme as well. Not necessarily in a bad way. It's just she definitely needs that push anyway. But a balance. This episode, Heather's parents are basically turned into gooey flesh. Nancy and Jonathan get fired also. I wanted to talk about that, actually. The argument that they also have in the car, I think it was a completely valid argument in the sense that both of them were in the right and in the wrong as well, where they were both saying things that were true. But like on one hand, sure, Jonathan cannot understand what it's like to be a woman in a male-dominated field where the only thing that they believe women are good for are for being secretaries and for getting the coffee and lunch. He doesn't get that. But with that said as well, Nancy doesn't understand what it also means to have a job that you need. Like, Jonathan needs this job, not just for personal growth, but he needs it to pay bills. He needs that job. Whereas Nancy, she has a plan B. She can fall back on her parents if she needs to and stuff. But Jonathan, he can't really. I mean, he comes from a poorer family. So I think that argument was pretty valid in the sense that they both raised some great points, and it also shows the gap that they have. And that eventually they are able to bridge the gap. But I do think that Jonathan also saying that I was completely wrong. I mean, sure, he was wrong to doubt her, I suppose. But with that said, I mean, and I am also glad that Nancy, she acknowledges this in a later episode where she wasn't really thinking about Jonathan when she acted on her own whim. Basically, she just wanted to get this story out. So I'm glad that she was able to do that self-reflection, especially with her mom as well. The conversation that they have, I think, is really, really well done, and that I'm glad that she was able to talk some of these things out. And it does show as well that she's not completely blind. But I do still think it was wrong for Nancy to do that. I'm glad that she reflected and that she also learned that was not a cool thing to do, especially because Jonathan was telling her to stop because he knew that if they continued, that would have happened in the end. Let's see here. I also wrote, I love Dustin, Robin, and Steve. I don't know what happened there to make me write that, but I really do love them. I think that they are great. I also wrote, Erica is a brat. At least she knows her worth. I think that this was the part also where they were trying to get through the air duct thing. and Erica is the only one who was small enough to do so. And she was talking about capitalism and my worth, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, you're still annoying as fuck. Anyway, I also wrote that Nancy and her mom, they have a Warren moment, which we talked about it. Just that whole conversation as well, and how we also get to see more of a glimpse of how her mom feels about, like, not just about her world, but about her past as well, and what she went through, being told that you can't do it, you're not enough, and all of that. I think that's a really good conversation, because it's a lot of people can relate to that as well. So yeah, that was episode 4. Next we have episode 5, The Flayed. Let's see, I wrote the screaming kids and the trapped. Oh yeah, this was the part where you have Steve, Erica, Robin, and Dustin in the elevator thing that goes all the way down, and they're screaming and they're panicking, and it's hilarious because they're hilarious and I love it. I love these guys, they're so good. I also wrote here, Steve's crash out is awesome, because Erica was going off again that if I'm not home by this time tomorrow, you 3 are in big trouble. And basically Steve goes, shut the fuck up, do you not understand where we are now? It's like she wasn't able to understand the severity of the situation. But I think she got a message, because Steve, he also said, your mom is not going to be able to find us if we are dead in a Russian elevator or whatever. And I was like, yes, Steve, thank you. Perfect. She got the message. I love that crash out. It was valid. It was awesome. And this is also the episode where Nancy and Jonathan meet up with Mike and Al and Max and everyone else, which I honestly think is great. I love it when the whole team eventually comes, together, because they are just so OP. Like, the concept of having the group split is so that each group can find different pieces of the puzzle, so that when they do eventually come together, they are able to piece everything together. I love the concept, but I really love seeing all of them together as well, because I just think that they're just so fun. All of them are just great. Let's see. I also wrote, Hopper trying to steal the car is hilarious, and his whole skit that he did with Joyce as well is hilarious. I mean, Joyce is great. She is still honestly one of my favorite characters of the show. I love her. She's great. She is smart. She's quirky. She's weird. I love her. Let's see. I also wrote, all of the kids are brilliant. Yeah. As I kept saying, when they're all together, they are just so OP that I completely get why you can't have them all together throughout the whole show, because it is just too OP. They are all just too OP together. They're so great. Let's see. I also wrote, I love Murray. Yeah, Murray was just so hilarious. He's so great. I love him. His just his whole interaction also with Hopper and Joyce and Alexi as well. It's just so hilarious. Just everything was so freaking great. Episode 6, Pluribus Unom. I feel like I mispronounced that, but oh well. Here I wrote, the kids fight part of the mind flare. What happened there? Hold on a second, I'm trying to remember. Is the kids fight part of the mind flare? Wait, so what happened? I'm trying to think, because they are not at the mall yet. Oh, that might be when they were at Hopper's cabin, I guess, or something. Maybe. Anyway. Oh yeah, and here is also the episode where Hopper gets fed up with Alexi's demands and is like, listen, take the freaking keys, just go away. And then he eventually stays, and that's fine, because apparently Hopper was completely right with what he said, that if Alexi were to come back empty-handed to his bosses, they would not be happy. And plus, he also knows that he will be treated a little bit better with them than with the Russian comrades. So yeah. Oh yeah. I also wrote that Dustin's diss at Erica being a nerd is hilarious. Here's the thing as well. You have a lot of people in general, that they say that they are not a thing, or they look down upon a thing, whether it's a certain type of music or things that they are interested in, and yet they are exactly that. It's like how Erica was saying, you all are nerds, and she is one of the biggest nerds in the whole group. Like, she is a total math whiz, and she knows a lot about communism, capitalism, all of that. And like, yep, she is a nerd indeed. So that was hilarious. Oh my god. When Robin and Steve, when they were in the chair, when they were caught by the Russians, and so the Russian guy, he shoots them up with this truth telling thing, and Steve goes, "Did you even clean that thing?" Like, my god, Steve is hilarious. Like, I love Steve. I just do. I really do. He's so freaking great. And also just Steve and Robin being high. Oh my god, they're hilarious. Just that whole thing just being hilarious. Wow, just awesome. When Elle tries to look for Billy, and she is in his mind, basically, and you see these flashbacks as a part of him. You know, she starts with the memory of them on the beach, and then of his asshole father beating him up, and his mother as well, and all of that stuff. It's just from a cinematic point of view, that whole scene honestly was just, it looked amazing. Like, the raging storm, like, you go from the calm, chill, beautiful, relaxing beach, and then you get closer into the storm, and you see all this hate and this anger and this internal storm. When Elle finally reaches the eye of the storm, and she sees I think it was a warehouse or something. I don't remember, but anyway, I just thought that whole sequence, I thought, was so well done. Like, it doesn't personally make me feel like less bad or more bad, I guess, for Billy, because I still think he is an asshole. He's definitely a very good character. I respect that. He is a very good asshole, and I don't like him. Not as a character. I think as a character, I think he is good. But just as him, I can't stand him. So personally, when he died, I shed no tears. I did not care that he died. Sure, he redeemed himself in the end. Not really. I don't think so, because he is still a freaking asshole. It takes more than one brave good deed to counteract all of the horrible shit that he did. Not while he was being, possessed, but how he was treating Max as well. And we do kind of get that he started to respect Max more in season 2. I'm guessing also my issue is that I didn't get to see enough of Billy actually trying to be a decent person, because to me it's like, okay, he was an asshole throughout the entirety of season 2, and he gets his ass kicked by Max. He respects her towards the very, very end. And then he gets, controlled by the Mind Flayer from episode 1, and you can argue that it was the Mind Flayer, that wasn't him. True. Very true. With that said, his death, to me, I did not care. I was kind of glad that he died, because he is an asshole. He really is an asshole. Oh yeah, I also wrote here, everyone turning to slop was interesting. Yeah, the scene where you have a bunch of people going down the stairs and turning basically to chopped liver. Yeah, that was interesting. So next is episode 7, The Bite. And this is actually the episode where I think I have the least amount of notes here, which is fire. Oh yeah, the whole confession scene between Steve and Robin, I thought it was handled really well. Like, you have this girl who was saying that she was obsessed with Steve in school, which, I mean, obviously, if you hear that, right? If you hear that somebody says, I was obsessed with you, obviously you are going to think, oh, this person has feelings for me. It's a super understandable thing to think. It makes sense, especially when you don't have the extra context as to why, which Robin gives when they are in the bathroom together. But I also love how, because there are a lot of cases as well where, say, a guy thinks a girl is into him, but actually either she is not or she is gay. And a lot of men don't handle that well. But I thought the way that Steve handled that whole thing, honestly, super great with humor. It was a beautiful moment. Obviously he had his initial like his shock moment, but once that the shock rolled over, he basically took it all with humor, and they were laughing. And I think it also shows that Steve has a lot of it's either he has a lot of confidence or he's super respectful and understanding, or both. Honestly, I love Steve. Okay, I think he's great. He's such a great character. Now, what's interesting is that at first, when I first watched the show for the first time, I didn't like Steve. But the more we get to know him, the more he actually grows. That's when I started to like him more and more, including when I was doing my rewatch as well. I really do love Steve. He's so great. Let's see, what else did I write here? Oh my god. The Coca-Cola ad. What the fuck? What the fuck? What was that? That was such obvious intentional product placement. Like, that was honestly one step over placement. Like, it's one thing to have your characters like say take a can of Coca-Cola and drink from it. That's product placement. This was a whole ad. This was a whole ad. What the fuck? I'll give it to them. At least it was humorous, but also, what are you doing? Why was this part of your contract, guys? What the fuck? Anyways, let's see. I also wrote, oh yeah, this is the episode where Alexei dies. Sad. Like, I didn't care too much for him, but I was definitely like, oh shit, that sucks. Like, that's the most that I felt. Like, I felt more for his death than I did of Billy's death, and we've had a lot more screen time of him. So I think that should really solidify how I feel about Billy. I don't like him. Again, great character. As a character, he's great. I just hate him. Let's see. Also, Joyce punching the mayor was awesome. Indeed, it was. And the last episode is the Battle of Starcourt, the mall episode with the fireworks at the big ass creature. I have mixed feelings of that. On the one hand, it's creative, it's cool, it's bright, it's loud, it fits, it really does. But I also thought that it took a little bit too long. I think it was more so the scene where Billy was kind of coming out of his trance and Elle was talking to him. So while Lucas and Will and everyone were throwing the fireworks at the mind flare, at the flesh flare, you know, so I thought the touching moment that they had together, I think it was just a little bit too long. It felt a little bit too long, especially given that they have limited ammo. You have a screaming giant monster next to you who's stumbling around. Like, it was a little bit too long. Just a little bit. But generally speaking, the firework bombs, I thought that they were pretty cool. Very creative. Oh, yeah. Okay. When Dustin and Suzie sing the Never-Ending Story song. When I first watched the show, I was like, we do not have time for this. They are inside of a Russian lair. They need to move. Stop with this bullshit. Or as CinemaSins would likely say, movie/TV show has time for this. We do not have time for this. It's cool. It's geeky. I guess it's fans service or something. I don't know. I just thought it was completely unnecessary, honestly. It annoyed me the first time I watched it, and here is the thing also. I like the song. It's catchy. I will always join in the singing part and stuff, but the time and place, guys. There's a time and a place. We need planks constant now. Time is of the essence here. So yeah, that kind of annoyed me. I'm glad that we got to see at least, but still, like, ugh. Anyway, oh yeah, I also wrote, I'm not sure how I felt about Billy's redemption arc. It feels meh. I yes, it feels very meh. I don't particularly care either. Like, in my eyes, you are still an asshole. At least with, say, like with Steve, at least we had a chance to see him evolve from not being an asshole, but also Steve wasn't as big of an asshole as Billy. I think that also helps. Billy was a big bully. He was a piece of shit. He really grew into a piece of shit. And yes, I'm sure that when he was a kid, he was nicer, and his upbringing has ruined him, blah, blah. Sure. Make that argument. I don't care. I have very strong feelings about this, clearly. I didn't realize how strongly I felt of this. I felt like if they really wanted to give him a redemption arc, I feel like maybe if he wasn't, possessed for so long, maybe there could have been room for that. I don't know. Also, okay, yeah. The fact that when Hopper and Joyce, when they are in the Russian lab thing, they are near that drill gate opener machine. The fact that he survives that. Now, I remember when I first watched the show, I wasn't too sure if he lived or not, but I was like, I think he's alive. And then you see the end credit scene, and I'm like, he's alive. He's definitely alive. I also love that Dr. Owens came in to try and help. They came a little bit too late, but I'm glad that they did come, because I think it also kind of shows that Dr. Owens, he is a decent guy at the end of the day. So yeah, here is where Elle's powers are blocked. Also, I wanted to get into this more. I didn't write this part down, but in one of the episodes, I think it was in the Bite episode, where we have Elle, who's looking for Billy, I think. And she's in the bathroom, and she's using her powers for a long time. And Mike is worried that, like, hey, she's been using her powers for a long time. Maybe she should take a break. And then Max goes, basically, that you don't need to control her. She is her own person with her own thoughts, and she knows her limits. And while, yes, she is right, but Mike has a very good reason to be concerned, because even though Elle does know her powers better than anyone, we all have times where we push ourselves too far. That's how sports injuries happen as well. When you push yourself too far, even if you know your limits, you will always try to push them a little bit, and sometimes you go too far. That happens with other things in life as well, where you push yourself too far, and Elle's powers are now blocked. Now, could it also be because she did push herself too far? Now, again, like I also said earlier, she was dealing with a giant fleshy monster thing, much bigger, much more powerful than she has had to deal with up to now. So I'm certain that is a factor in it. But I think that Mike was very right to raise that concern, that she shouldn't have to push herself too far, and that she has to be careful. And at the end, he does learn to trust her. This is also why Mike was annoying for the first 2 episodes, basically, but like, he is still a really good friend, and he raises, concerns, and he really tries to think outside of the box as well. And he also says things like, we can't take that chance for something that could or could not be true. And he also does all this because he cares for Elle as well. And he doesn't want to lose her. Again, obviously you're going to be a little bit more controlling because you lost her once, and you don't want that again. So obviously, I personally think he is doing well, considering. Plus, that guy's a kid. He's a kid. He's learning. He's growing. It's fine. Anyway, what else did I also write? Oh yeah, episode ends when they move away, and it's so sad. And also the letter that Hopper wrote for Elle, and she reads it, and it's like, sad. I got teary. The first time I saw it, I got teary, and I got teary again, because it was like, it's also sad because, like, I mean, the audience kind of thinks that he is alive. I mean, at least I did. So it's like, I wasn't too sad about that, but it's like, just seeing the weight of Hopper's death on Elle, and Joyce as well, and it's like, meh, meh. Oh yeah. I also love how the end credit scene is our lovely Demogorgon. It's like we're going back to our old roots. And that concludes the review of season 3. And yeah, all in all, if I were to compare it to the other 2 seasons, I do believe it is the worst of the 2. But with that said, season 3, I think, was really fun. I liked it a lot. I really did. I just think that the first is the best. It's just so good. It was, especially when it first came out. I watched it when it first came out. It was different. It was edgy and it was dark. It was brilliant. Brilliant. Season 2, I also loved. And here, I like this as well. I like that we also get a little bit more, like, we got to spend a little bit more time with the characters also just being kids as well, or just being. So now we are going to do a little bit of trivia, because why not? So yeah. All right, we are doing the BuzzFeed quiz. How well did you really pay attention to season 3 of Stranger Things? Oh, I forgot. Hold on. Wait, I forgot. I have to close my notes. I'm closing my notes here. They're going over here. And I am not allowed to touch them. Okay, anyway. Where is Suzie from? Shit. Yay! I was right. I wasn't sure. Oh, I forgot to read that. I'm sorry. So the options were Pleasant Grove, Utah, St. George, Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, or West Jordan, Utah. And I chose Salt Lake City, Utah, and that was the correct answer. Next, what kind of Slurpee does Alexi prefer? Cherry, Coke, strawberry, or very berry? Okay. I think it was cherry, because strawberry is the one that Hopper gave him because they didn't have cherry. Yes, it is cherry indeed. All right. What color scrunchies do Elle and Max wear while fighting Billy? Yellow and purple, blue and green, blue and purple, or yellow and green? Yellow, yes. I remember the yellow color. I want to say purple, but I'm not sure. Like, yellow and purple. I don't think it was green. Let's see if... It was green! It was the purple sweatshirt. Ship. Okay, that's why. Ship. Alright, close enough. Anyway. The shirt Dustin wears in the finale has what animal on it? Shit. I think it was... Okay, so the options here we have flamingo, cow, tiger, or bull. I think it was a tiger? Fuck. It is a cow. Shit. I think the reason why I chose tiger because the colors of the shirt are tiger colors, orange and red and yellow-ish. So it's like, oops. Oh well. Ugh. What color are Erica's nails painted? Yellow, pink, purple, or blue? I think either pink or purple. Wait, hold on. No, wait. Shit, hold on. This is hard. I'm gonna go for purple. I feel like I'm wrong though, but I'm gonna go for... I was wrong. Blue? Okay. Shit. I'm not doing well here, guys. All right. What kind of chips is Mike eating while Eleven is spying on him? Cheetos, Doritos, potato chips, or pita chips? I don't think it's Cheetos. I don't think it's potato chips. It was Doritos. Shit. The bag looked a little different in the 80s. Fuck. Oh well. What color balloons does Alexi pop in order to win at the carnival? This I do remember. Yellow, orange, green, or blue? The answer is green. The green. Okay, finally, what? Oh god. What is Planck's constant? We have a few options here. 6.6. I don't know. Man. I'm pretty sure it has a 7, not an 8. And I'm pretty sure there was a 4 at the end. Is it this one? Yes! I can't believe I got... I only got half the score. But I can't believe I got Planck's constant right. Not because I actually remembered the actual number, but because I remember some of them. So it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure that there was an 8. You know, it's like, oh well. It is getting dark, so I think now is a good time to wrap up today's episode. So thank you all so much for tuning on in. I appreciate it. If you enjoy today's episode, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos every week. Be sure to also check out my Patreon page where I upload full unedited reactions of the TV shows and movies that I react to on YouTube as well. Plus, there are some Patreon exclusive reactions as well, including Hazbin Hotel, Arcane, and any other projects I will be adding in the future. You can also get behind the scenes content on Patreon and also extra art made by me. And speaking of the Patreon, thank you all so much to my lovely patrons for supporting the channel. I appreciate it so much, and thank you to all of you guys here on YouTube as well for all of the likes and the comments and for watching the videos as well. I appreciate you all so much. Until next time.